Namaste, friends, disciples, and devotees. I wish you all a new year filled with peace and light. And today I have decided to speak to you on prayer and devotion from Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. You know, the year 2021 is extremely important in my life because 21 is the birthday of the Divine Mother. And many of you know of her, many of you have seen her or read all of her works, or many of them. Let me begin first on prayer from the Mother. Her New Year's greeting: let the birth of the new year be the new birth of our consciousness. Leaving the past far behind us, let us run towards a luminous future. I'll begin with Sri Aurobindo, and then I'll give a second talk on the Mother and her quotes on prayer. From Sri Aurobindo: love, fear, prayer, praise, worship of an impersonality which has no relation with us or with anything in the universe, and no feature that our minds can lay hold of, are obviously an irrational foolishness. But the yoga of devotion, agreeing in this with religion, insists on a closer and warmer worship than this impersonal aspiration. It aims at a divine fulfillment of the humanity in us, as well as of the impersonal part of our being. It aims at a divine satisfaction of the emotional being of man. It demands of the Supreme acceptance of our love and a response in kind as we delight in Him and seek Him. So it believes that He too delights in us and seeks us. Nor can this demand be condemned as irrational. For if the Supreme and Universal Being did not take any delight in us, it is not easy to see how He could have come into being or could remain in being. And if He does not at all draw us towards Him, a divine seeking of us, there would seem to be no reason in nature why we should turn from the round of our normal existence to seek Him. Therefore, that there may be at all any possibility of a yoga of devotion, we must assume first that the supreme existence is not an abstraction or a state of existence, but a conscious being. Secondly, that He meets us in the universe and is in some way immanent in it as well as its source. Otherwise, we should have to go out of cosmic life to meet Him. Thirdly, that He is capable of personal relations with us and must therefore be not incapable of personality. Finally, that when we approach Him by our human emotions, we receive a response in kind. This does not mean that the nature of the divine is precisely the same as our human nature, though upon a larger scale. or that it is that nature pure of certain perversions, and God a magnified or else an ideal man. God is not and cannot be an ego limited by his qualities, as we are in our normal consciousness. But on the other hand, our human consciousness must certainly originate and have been derived from the divine, though the forms which it takes in us may and must be other than the divine, because we are limited by ego, not universal, not superior to our nature, not greater than our qualities and their workings, as he is. Still, our emotions and impulses must have behind them a truth in him, of which they are the limited and very often, therefore, perverse or even the degraded forms. By approaching him through our emotional being, we approach that truth. It comes down to us to meet our emotions and lift them towards it. Through our emotional being is united with him. And lastly, as for the way out of the impasse you speak of, I know only of the quieting of the mind, which makes meditation effective, purification of the heart, which brings the divine touch, and, in time, the divine presence, humility before the divine, which liberates from egoism and pride of the mind and of the vital, the pride that imposes its own reasonings on the ways of the spirit, and the pride that refuses or is unable to surrender. Sustained persistence in the call within and reliance on the grace above. Meditation, japa, prayer, or aspiration from the heart can all succeed if they are attended by these, or at least some of these things. I fully believe that one who has the call in him cannot fail to arrive if he follows patiently the way towards the divine. Namaste.